Welcome back to this refurbished Anderson air raid shelter, otherwise known as a gaming pantry, with the second part of my Retro Bear Master System collection. Yes, if you haven't seen part one, it's strange you started with part two. I can't work that one out. But go back and watch part one. It'll be a bit more about it. I'll explain a bit more about my history of the Master System. I'm not going to go over that again here. That's going to be in that video. This is going to be the follow-on for that, with some games to show off. We have changed the game in the room from the first video. Believe it or not, this is a game I don't actually own. And if you watch part one, you'd know that, wouldn't you? You'd say, he hasn't got that. Running off my Xbox emulator, this is Enduro Racer, which is a game I mentioned in the first video about how difficult it is to find certain Master System games in good condition. This is one of them. I can never find a decent copy of Enduro Racer. Completely different as well, this version, to the arcade, because the arcade was a behind the bike 3D racing game. Big arcade game with a sit-on bike. This is done in an isometric point of view and actually plays an awful lot better, because a lot of the home conversions of Enduro Racer weren't great, particularly the Commodore 64 one. That's not too bad. Well worth a go. Anyway, where did we get to on our last video? Yes, we got to Pit Fighter, I believe. Working our way through. So we have 100 Master System games. We did 51 in the first video. We got 49 in here. Very quickly, just to recap. It's a system I'm collecting for, which I'm going to try and have a decent collection, so manuals, boxes, hang tabs, because these boxes got hang tabs on them, as close as I can get to being as complete as possible to have them all. And like I said, of the 100 games I've got, 97 have got boxes, and I think so far maybe about 4 of them haven't got manuals, so we're not very far off having a lot of a complete variety. Anyway, let's crack on, because I'm rambling and you've obviously got things to do. So again, another game which I mentioned in the first video, talking about lemmings being played with a mouse. Populous is a game which I didn't really get on the Amiga at all. But again, I find it very strange that games like this can end up on console. Not a great box, but we got the manual and the hang tab in place. And if you play anything like SimCity, this is that style of game. God creation, God simulators, I think they call them. God simulators? Not dogs, God simulators, yeah. Again, like again I mentioned in the first video, this got converted to pretty much every single system, including the Casio calculator you had in your pencil case at school. Prince of Persia. But what a lovely looking game it is as well. Platform game, lots of jumps and painful deaths for you to experience as you go along. Lovely manual, and a nice condition box with the old hang tab in place as well. There we go, clicks that in place. But yeah, it's a really good game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's an absolute classic. But again, it just appears on every single format that you can imagine. Now, again, first video I mentioned my friend Jim had a Master System when we were growing up. He always talked about this platform game. I don't know whether it was he had something mystically attached to it over the years, and it was always very well regarded, very well reviewed, very well thought of, always in people's top collections and you know, top 25s or what have you. It's never really clicked with me. Believe me, I've tried to play it. I've tried, but I just find the controls a bit too slippery for a platformer. It's a shame, and I got this a couple of years ago, Birmingham Gaming Market, when Eddie was there helping me spend my money. Psycho Fox. I think I paid about 25 quid for this. It's about what it goes for now, I think. But yeah, it seems to be one of these games. It has to be a must-have on the system. Again, honest manual, I would say on that one. Honest manual. But as a platformer, I just find it a bit slippery. I don't like platform games where you jump and then your character carries on moving. But it plays different animals. I mean, it's a lovely game to look at. Don't get me wrong, I like everything about it. I just don't like the controls. They're a bit too soapy. Best way to describe it. This is a favourite game of a good friend of mine, Gun plays. Unfortunately, this one hasn't got the manual, because I picked it up a long time ago before I started worrying about getting manuals. This is the conversion of the arcade classic Rampage, which I think I've played on many different systems. And again, it's one of these games which is very good, but it's not great, because The original arcade was good, but not great. So when you take a good game and convert it to a system, you've got to do something a bit special to elevate it. And they're sort of, I say, straight ports. You can't add anything else to it. I know there's a version on the Wii which is just total destruction. That's very, very good. There's a version on the N64, which is somewhere in the Wii version. So no manual, sadly, with that one. I played the Commodore 64 version. I played the Spectrum version, and they're all good fun. It just doesn't. I don't know. There's just something not about it. Although it should be a lot of fun. 3 giant monsters, a gorilla, a lizard, and a wolf, smashing buildings up. You should be enjoying things like that. But I don't know. Just good game, not great. This is a surprising game because this was actually an arcade game originally. I remember seeing. I thought, what? Who's made an arcade game about this? But honestly, it is a surprisingly good game, and again, very, very easy to find. This is Rampart, which is based around defending castles and ports from enemy ships. So it's very medieval, but it's a turn-based game. But it's an arcade game originally, and I saw it in the arcade. I thought, how could that possibly work? But it does. It does work really well. Nice condition copy, converted by Tengen. Published by Tengen, converted by Domark, sorry. It did come out on the home. I know it came out on the Amiga, but I remember reading about it and thought, not quite sure how that's going to work. I never actually played it, but that is not a bad game at all. Very underrated. Again, because it's only copies of it knocking around and people, it must be terrible. But no, it's a good game. Honestly, it's really, really good. This one's sadly missing a hang tab, but again, I think I probably would have pulled rank on it and said, you know what, I don't see this one. I think I made a pay about £5 for it. This is RC Grand Prix, and this is very much in the style of RC Pro-Am, not quite, on the NES. Slightly different viewpoint. But I think, again, this is an early Birmingham Gaming Market purchase for £5 without the hang tab, and I think at the time I was like, yeah, I'll just grab that. It's just, don't see it very often. Good condition. Slight crinkly cover, but I ain't worried about that. Everything else about it is good. Nice game. This was one of the CX roulette games. This game was known as very difficult to, very, very common. Light phaser game now. This is Rescue Mission. And this was a CX roulette win because it came with the manual. Aha. There we go. Again, you are trapped behind enemy lines. They are wounded and need your help to escape. You're taking the medics in on a dangerous rescue mission. I can't say much more about it because I haven't actually played it. I'll hold my hands up and say, sorry folks, I do not know much about that one. But otherwise, all I know, it was dead cheap. So it can't be difficult to find. This wasn't cheap. This came back to a conversation I had when I started doing Desert Island games a while back. This is probably the first run we did in 2020 during the COVID situation. And I can't remember. And it was with Pete over at SNEStastic. It was a great pleasure to talk to Pete. We spent a long time talking about games, and he mentioned this one. And it wasn't long after I was out somewhere and came across a copy of it, and it was a really nice copy as well. And it was priced about 15-20 quid, I think it was. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab hold of that. And that would have been a lot more than I would have spent on games at the time. And this is RoboCop versus Terminator. So you see, we moved away from the classic white cover. So this is from the first video. If you saw the Andre Agassi game, this is another one of those. Let's break this edition. But what a lovely game! Look at the cartridge as well. Got the red and black writing on it. Brilliant. Really, really nice. And again, I had to make a good copy of this out of 2 when I saw it, but we managed to do it. And again, it's an arcade side-scrolling platform shooting affair based around the RoboCop and the Terminator. And what else do you want for? That's stuff dreams are made of, isn't it? But yeah, paid a bit more for that. But that would never come about without that conversation with Pete. So I thank you very much for that, Pete. And quite coincidentally, linking through that, Pete wanted to do that conversation with me at the time because I'd spoken to a good friend of his previously, and he said, "Oh, you want to do this with Russ and whatever," and he did. And this came courtesy of a very good friend of mine, when we used to do the old wrestling round table together many years ago on the VHS bootlegger. Say many years ago. Seems like many years ago, but yeah, this was sent to me, and he sent to me as an honest copy. It was from my good friend James over at Time Warp James's World of Tat, or whatever he calls his channel these days. Lovely fella, and it was a really generous gift. And it's R-Type on the Master System, and what a lovely conversion this is. Brilliantly bright colours, vibrant, music's okay. It does have an issue with the slowdown and the sprite flicker, which unfortunately some of these games do have issues with, but because that's the limitation of technology. But it's got the old manual in the bag there, so it's really been well looked after. But what a lovely copy of the game this is. He says to me it's an honest copy. I mean, James, when he sent this to me at the time, I said, you're seriously underdoing that. But it's just one of the classic arcade shooters of the era. You've got to have a copy of that somewhere. That one or the PC Engine one. I still want the copy of the PC Engine one someday. I've got some gremlins in this video. Somewhere doesn't want me to show my Master System collection off. Camera froze last time on the last video. I don't know. Anyway, I was in the process of talking about Secret Command, which was a CX roulette fail. This one, I think in America, is known as Rambo. So there's no manual, no hang tab. But it's not a difficult game to come across. It's fairly cheap and inexpensive. It is. So I'd like it more to, if you want a comparison, Ikari Warriors. It's a bit like that. This one, I can't remember. I don't know. I wasn't aware this came out on the Master System. It's a horrible game on the Amiga. I hated this game. And I think there's two cover variants of this. I'm pretty sure this is Shadow of the Beast, what we're talking about. And you can see it's got Master Mix 92 down the side of that. I'm pretty sure I've seen a different cover. And I know there's another game I've got in here somewhere which probably also suffers from the same thing, which I may get to if I remember. But really nice manual inside. And the thing with Shadow of the Beast was it was a very basic platform disguised with some fantastically flashy graphics on the Amiga and music. I'm not sure how it works on a Master System. Again, must be honest, I haven't played it. Another one which is dead easy to find. This game, talk about my mate Jim, had this system. You know, this is a game he absolutely loved, played it all the way through, finished it, and then was incredibly unimpressed with how the game finished. Again, it's one of these games which I always seem to elude me and find a decent copy. This one hasn't got a hang tab, sadly. This is Shinobi. Classic Sega arcade game. Less than honest manual. On cue, it falls open. Oh, really? Oh, okay. The manual's taking offence now. Oh, dear we. Anyway. There we go. But you're a ninja. You've got giant end of level bosses. You'll go through and rescue children from ninjas. Ninjas were very, very big back in the 80s. Everything was based around ninjas. Shinobi, one of those series I've always wanted to get more into. I've got Revenge of Shinobi on the Mega Drive on one of the Mega Games compilations. Shadow Dancer's one I haven't got for the Master System. It's always eluded me. Again, I've seen a couple of copies, but they're not great. You know, that's why I won't throw good money after something which is in bad condition. Usually. I think about all the games I've left on the shelf. I thought I could have had that, and I haven't. There we go. Ice hockey now. This is a Slapshot. You can see the Sega sticker has been strategically placed on the puck at the front. Again, I paid about £4 or £5 for this at a Birmingham gaming market at some point, one of the 3 or 4 that have been on. Not a huge ice hockey fan, but I did like the old NHL games on the Mega Drive. Grew up playing those quite happily. I'm just trying to position these so they don't fall on the floor. A couple of Sonic games to show you now. Sonic the Hedgehog, the original one. Again, if you've ever played these, you will know that they are slightly different to the Mega Drive versions. Lovely manual with that one. Really, really nice. And very good games in their own right. Don't suffer from being on an 8-bit system, other than the fact that you got the old sprite flicker and a bit of slowdown going on. And then there's a sequel, Sonic 2, as well. Which again, I think it's a slightly different game to the original. More of a well-used manual in that one. But not difficult to find these at all. Sonic Chaos, Sonic Spinball is, or Sonic Spinball I think is in. I remember I've got Sonic Spinball on the Mega Drive, and I remember somebody said how much the Master System version went for. I thought, wow, I wonder what the Mega Drive version's worth. Nothing anywhere near the value. Sonic Chaos in itself, I think it's about a 15 or 20 quid game, but Sonic Spinball is way out there. This is the game I was after for absolutely ages, and it's about the best condition I've ever found it in, which is a shame because you do see quite a lot of them around. An arcade game I never played. I didn't play the conversion on the Amiga when it came out, so it's a bit of a tatty box. This one needs a bit of a tidy up. Taito arcade game, Space Gun, which was sort of like Operation Wolf in Space. But I was after it for absolutely ages. I don't know why. Glossy manual. Yeah, we showed a glossy manual in the first episode. There's another one there. Usually the manuals have just had the typical paper. But I mean, it's not a great game. Great condition box. I'm not sure it's a great game or not. I don't know. I can't tell you. Not a great condition box on the whole, but it fills that gap in the old collection. You see. Very, very good that one. I was happy to find that eventually. Thought about one of these that would elude me. This one constantly eluded me. Strange, I don't know why. Spider-Man. It was difficult to find a copy with a manual. Very, very tricky to do so. But this one, again, I've been in shops where they got 3 copies of, and none of them have got manuals with them. So luckily we found one. And it's not actually a bad condition manual, it's a very, very good one, actually. So, but I was just happy to find that eventually. I'm a big fan of comics from that mid to late 1980s era. Now this one I was happy to find, and we had to do a bit of work. We did this at Vintage Gamer, and I found a copy of this game on a shelf, and I thought, oh, I'd really like that. And then look at the back of the box. There was a giant hole, puncture hole in the back of it, which had taken out part of the plastic case. There was a big hole in the plastic case, and the plastic cover on the outside, and the paper on the inside. So I spoke to Sean there, lovely fella, really, very, very helpful, and he said, leave it with me, we'll see if we can help you with that. And then what he did, he got me a completely new box, and he did his best to repair the hole in the cover at the back, and he gave me a little bit of a discount price for it as well, which was great because the cover was damaged. It's Star Wars, you can see why. I was very keen to get that one. It's not uncommon, but it's not one of the easy ones to find. So, I mean, the case is a bit of a jaunty one, but you'll see what I mean at the back there if I just show you where the damage is on the manual there. So there's a giant, great big puncture hole, so all that was folded in. You did a very good job just pulling it out and just straightening it out a bit. So I will be grateful for that. It goes to show sometimes that the lengths that these independent retailers and their staff will go to help you and make sure that, you know, they get a sale at the end of the day, but you're getting something that you want at a price you want to pay. Really, really, I was really happy with that one. Lovely find on it. Again, I don't mind that. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. I was glad they were able to work it out, and they did do me a good price on that. So fair play to them once again. Can't argue with the service. It's always good. This one again, great find to get this one into the collection. It's probably one of the most recent editions I've had, and this is the original Streets of Rage. Obviously not any other ones because they're way, way too expensive. But again, lovely manual, nice condition. I did pay a good price for this one. If you never played Streets of Rage before, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up in that traditional Double Dragon style. A game which some people rave about. I never quite got the appeal of it. I never quite sat with me properly. I don't know why. And this is Strider. Didn't get it when it came out. I still don't get it now. I know some people love it, but I don't know, it just doesn't ring true with me. I don't know why. Again, this has got the Master System catalogue tucked behind the manual, which is good. Got about 5 of these now, which is nice. Yeah, not a favourite of mine, this one. Platform game involving beat 'em up elements. giant end of level bosses and things. But I don't know. I just never seen the appeal to Strider. Right, we've showed you Olympic Gold. I think that was was that in the last episode? Yes, last episode. So we've now got Epic's version. This is Summer Games with a cartoony cover. Sadly, no hang tab on this one. But again, this is based around the Olympics. Olympic Gold had 7 events. I'm not sure how many Summer Games has got. But I said about it at the time, I said I like playing these games. I do like sports games. So things like this will very much appeal to me. Nice manual. Very happy with that one as well. And I don't think I didn't pay too much for this at all. So there's it. So it's an Olympic-based game. You can see there's swimming and track and field, and is that trampolining at the top or gymnastics possibly? But they were always good. I mean, if you own an 8-bit Commodore 64, I mean the games. Summer Games, Winter Games 2, Summer Games 2, California Games, World Games. Absolute perennials on those systems, and it's nice to see a couple of them actually made it through this far. This is again one of the great things about the system like this. There are so many common games to pick up. This is a common game to pick up. Super Kickoff. Now, having played Kickoff 2 to death on the Amiga, when my mate Jim got this for his Master System, I was like, right, all these pastings over the last few years I've taken on Street Fighter 2 and Mario Kart, I'm going to get my own back on Super Kickoff, and it never quite felt the same playing it on a console. I don't know why. It's not bad. Just doesn't have the same feel to it as the Amiga game did originally. But you can get this. I mean, it's so common. Same on the Mega Drive. I got it on the Mega Drive as well. Dirt cheap game to pick up. No hang tab on this one, but we saw the sequel to this in the first game. This is the Master System version of Super Monaco Grand Prix, which is nothing like the Mega Drive version, and quite rightly so, because there's no way it'll be able to match it for technical ability. It's got a lovely manual, and it's also got the Sega catalogue tucked in the back as well. Case is a bit on the downside, but it looks like an 8-bit racing game on the back. So Super Monaco Grand Prix, one of the great things about it was, we had speech and weather effects and cockpit view. This is obviously the traditional sit behind the car thing. Nothing wrong with that. It's a fair game. Just don't go expecting to play an arcade version of Super Monaco Grand Prix, because quite rightly they haven't attempted it. This is Super Smash TV from Flying Edge. I played this a few weeks back on the Amiga. When I was play testing the Amiga before I broke it. You may notice a slight cock up on this one. We've actually got the instructions for the Game Gear version inside that one. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, sadly no hang tab, but I enjoy playing it. I find it a bit challenging, this one. I don't know, because it's got certainly on the Amiga the rotating shots on the gun. And that was a big part of the arcade game. You had this 8-way arcade stick, so you could just walk around and fire in any single direction. Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but not a bad game. Not going to say it's a bad game. I'm just not very good at it. Like a lot of things, I'm not very good at. Another arcade conversion. Blimey, we're going through some arcade conversions here, aren't we? Well, this is an old game which was updated and then got released in every single format. Average copy. Super Space Invaders. Do like Space Invaders. One of the first games I ever played on any system was Space Invaders on the 2600. But nice copy. Inside, manual's very good. And this is just trying to take Space Invaders and introduce it to a new generation. This came out in 1991. Early 90s anyway, obviously a long time, nearly 14, 15 years after the original Space Invaders came out. Now this game, what is it with this game? I don't know what it is. I've played this game across all 8-bit systems. Finally, I actually managed to play it the other day on the Amstrad, because I have a copy of this game on the Amstrad, and my Amstrad won't load it. I was play testing two of Mrs. Bear's Amstrad she's got for sale, and it worked both, loaded first time on both of the ones she got. So why it won't work on mine, I don't know. It's a lovely conversion. On the Spectrum, it's a lovely conversion with a nice loading screen. On the Commodore 64, the game's horrible. The loading screen is terrible. Even on the Amiga, the loading screen of the front cover is not particularly well defined. But on this one, the front cover is completely different, and it's gone for some sort of comedy effect, which I'm not quite sure why it has. It just doesn't look right for the game it is. And this is the conversion of Chase HQ. I mean, you know, if you remember Chase HQ, it's got two guys in the front. One looks like Charles Bronson, and the other one, I suppose, you know, oh, what's his name? Can't remember. But one, you know, they both look like they come from like 70s and 80s action films. Sidney Poitier, yeah. So like that anyway, and it, you know, it looks like he's come and lifted some sort of action film. This looks like it is some sort of cartoon. I don't quite get it, which is a real pity, because if you saw that and you know, what's all that about? The actual game itself on the Master System is pretty good. It's a lot better than some conversions. Certainly better than the Commodore 64, which isn't even the conversion itself. It's an abomination. Oh, there goes the cartridge. Well, that's two now falling out. They are robust, these. They do bounce a bit. In fact, if anything, the actual the label's coming off that one. Yeah, so not a particularly brilliant copy, but again, not one I found in great condition. This is, if I've got it, this is the condition I found it in, and the best one I've got. So, but actually, it is a very, very good game. It's a very, very good conversion. I think it works very well on the Master System. And I've played it on the Game Boy. I've played it on the Spectrum, the Amstrad, the Amiga, the Commodore 64. I don't think I played anything else. I don't think I played an emulation version of it on the PC Engine, which is meant to be the best one. And I never actually played the sequel, Special Criminal Investigations, which is a game I keep trying to find for the Master System, and I can't find it again in good condition. There we go. This is Tasmania, based on the cartoon series and the well-known Tasmanian Devil cartoon character. If you see my Master System, my Mega Drive collection video I did, I'm not overly complimentary to the original game now, because it's a bit ponderous and a bit slow. This is a bit different. It's a slightly different conversion, obviously, because of the limitations of the system. Not, you know, I think there are better platformers on the Master System than that. I like Taz. I like the TV series, but it's yeah, it's okay. This one has got one of these old Master System artwork, which we talked about in the first video. There we go. Teddy Boy, which has got nothing to do with teddies. Scramble for one nightmarish maze to another, bumping off bugs, guppies, snails, dominoes, and more as you go. But be aware, you must avoid the ugly Den, a snapping dragon head, or you'll be forced to wake up to reality. Got a bit of protection in there as well. Someone's been over the old manual with a bit of red pen, you might just see. There we go. But again, I don't mind that, because again, this is a game that's taken me forever to find, which ticks the boxes. Again, you'd have thought with this game, you know, being so old and been out for so long, that it'd be easy to find, but no. Get another easy one. No hang tab on this one, sadly, but this is Tennis Ace. This I did have originally as a loose cartridge, and then I upgraded to a manual version. Again, average manual, but it will do. And if you missed that in the first video, I did say that what I'm trying to do was, I originally started collecting loose cartridges, and then I decided to go for full boxed ones. So, not a great box actually originally on that, to be fair, but again, it's not a difficult one to get hold of, so I should be able to replace it. This is a lovely, again, nice condition copy. Apart from, I don't feel there's a bit of sun fading down the side. I don't know, it might just be the colour and font they use, but this is the Jungle Book, which came out on the Mega Drive as well, and the Super Nintendo, I believe. It may come out on the NES as well. And I generally didn't like this one as much as I liked, say, the Lion King and the Aladdin. I felt it was a bit samey, very similar to the Lion King, because it's maybe the same setting, but it's platformer, colourful to look at, very Disney-esque, nice animation, but again, not difficult to find or particularly expensive. We've got a Donald Duck game. There are two Donald Duck games on the Master System. This is the cheaper one of the two and the more common available, and this is the Lucky Dime Caper. Sadly, without the manual, because I got this a very, very long time ago, although I do have the warning instructions inside, which is a bonus, I suppose. But yeah, nothing inside that one apart from that. A bit of a shame there. So I'll be looking for a manual for that to upgrade my copy. But this is very much in the style of the Mickey Mouse Illusion games. So very colourful. I can't remember what the other one's called. Off the top of my head, but the other one is more expensive. We just talked about the Jungle Book, so let's bring in the Lion King, which is again I've got on the Mega Drive. Manual with four different language interpretations of the Lion King on it. Not seen that before. Usually the one of the Retro Bear things, if it's got more than X number of languages on the back, it's not a very good game. A lot of the Master System games do actually have multiple languages on the back of them. But you've got the Lion King, we've got the König de Löwen, which I think is the German version, Le Roi Lion, which I believe will be the French version, and El Rey Leon, which I believe will be the Spanish version. All badly pronunciated. There we go. But, you know, traditional, again with Disney games, very, very pretty to look at. Fun to play. I spoke in the first video about Master System games and where they sit in terms of against the 8-bit systems they were up against, such as the NES and the home micros. And then there's a 16-bit of the consoles with the Mega Drive, the Super Nintendo, but also the 16-bit micros like the Amiga and the ST. And that sometimes in Master System games, graphically, for me, set somewhere between the two. They're better than the 8-bit, but not quite as good as the 16-bit. This is one of those prime examples. Prime examples. Mrs. Bear got me this one. I think for birthday or Christmas, I can't quite remember. New Zealand Story, one of my favourite arcade games. This is a fantastically beautiful conversion on the Master System. It really is. It also has got, which I'm really happy to say, it's got the original receipt in, where somebody actually paid for it, from a place called Interactive Consoles. They were based originally in Red Lion Yard in Essex. And somebody paid $31.99 for this back in February 1992. Wow. I love things like that. Manuals, okay, it'll suffice. But just one of my favourite platform games ever, this one. Again, I had this on the Amiga, one of the first games I actually played. But, I mean, just look at those graphics on the back there. You see those? They really are quite beautiful to look at. And having played it, you think, wow, this is just a really technically advanced game. I suppose because 1992 is a fairly late release for the Master System. That, you know, we see with homebrew now on 8-bit systems that people are able to do more with those machines than they could have done at the time because of time constraints. But that is really good. Tech Magic tend to have a particularly brilliant reputation for conversions. They did Pac-Mania, which we spoke about in the last video. But they're very good at this. This is an incredibly fun game to play, but also incredibly tricky and hard. It'll have you pulling your hair out. It's the Ninja. This is not a difficult game to get hold of, believe me. This was also when Mrs. Bear bought me my Master System. Again, I've been very lucky to say I bought my Master System 2, paid a few quid for it at a car boot, and she bought me my Master System for a birthday. And recently I was gifted a Master System, which is fantastic. Sadly, no manual with this one, but it's very difficult to find a copy with the manual. I don't know why, but it's a vertical scrolling beat 'em up. It's got some fantastic funky music in it, but it is so hard. It really is. It'll have you pulling your hair out. Another game from Flying Edge. This is a conversion of the well-known Simpsons game, Sport versus the Space Mutants, which is not meant to be a great game. I think I played it a long time ago on the Amiga. I do have it on the Amiga. I think that's the only version I've got. Dog-eared manual, which is fine. Don't mind that. But yeah, reputation of being a particularly brutal game to play. But at the time, it was the first Simpsons game that came out, so apart from the arcade game and people crawling all over it. And then finally, a game I've got loose on the Mega Drive. So it's nice to find a copy in the Master System. And this is The Terminator with Arnold on the front of it, based around the successful film. I've had a go at this. It's not brilliant. I will be honest. Not great. Not terrible, but not great. But yeah, nice fun. Again, nice. It's good. There are actually more games, less games here now. I thought I didn't have manuals, and I originally thought. So I think maybe 5 or 6 at the moment across both videos, which is good. So we're on to the last pile now, folks. This is it. We've hit the end of the run. You'll soon be free. Thunderblade. How this ever intended to be a decent conversion to this system, I don't know. I was never a huge admirer of the original arcade game, and I've played the Amiga version, the 64 version, and this version, and I'm not enamoured with any of them, to be honest. It's a shame, but I just don't think it's a great game. This one, my goodness me. I had this originally as a loose cartridge, because I'm a big fan of the cartoon. Then this, I think, my very good friend Feed Me Chicken sent me a copy of this, I believe. And then Mrs. Bear bought it me for Christmas, I think. I can't remember. So this is the Feed Me Chicken copy, I think I've got. Because Mrs. Bear says, I can't remember if you've got this or not, so I bought it just in case. But you said, you know, if you don't need it, then just trade it on. I think I actually gave it to, I may have passed it to Nath Retro Run, because we always used to joke about this game. It's Tom and Jerry the movie. It's just not a very good game. I'm sorry, I don't care what people say. It's just not a very good game. It's a nice manual with it, and it's a nice copy of it. Well, the box is a bit iffy, but I don't know, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't think it captures Tom and Jerry at all. I don't think any of the Tom and Jerry games have ever captured Tom and Jerry properly. Even the one on the PlayStation 2, which is the War of the Whiskers, I think it is, which is a fighting game. No, still not right. It's still not right. You can't capture it, leave it alone. One of the old releases with the old artwork on the cover, this is Transbot, which is actually a fun little game. Fun little, imagine you're a transformer, a robot in disguise, and you're flying through space shooting things. It's like that. It's good fun. It's good fun. Again, very, very easy to get hold of in that condition. Very, very easy. I think I got this from a cash generator place in Worcester quite a while back. I think I must have paid a couple of quid for it. I mean, I like it, and I played this a few years back, at, 2.5 years ago, I think it was. So Christmas 2019, I think I played this. I was on a whale of a time on my own. Trivial Pursuit. This gives you an idea of just how good I am at games. Why? I don't know, because I thought it was a very, very, it was a good conversion of it, and I was like very happy playing it. Average manual, but that's not too bad. It's just Trivial Pursuit. There's nothing special about it. But again, I got Trivial Pursuit on the 8-bit systems. I got it on the Wii. I got it on the PlayStation 2, I think. PlayStation 3, I got a copy of Trivial Pursuit as well. Thank you to Archive Oddball for sending me that. You know, it's little things like this, isn't it? You know, that amuse people. Vigilante, arcade game converted to pretty much every major system, where you're meant to be rescuing your girlfriend Madonna. Not a bad condition manual. And strong smell of plastic in that one. I need to require a bit of an airing, that I think. But yeah, I mean, it's an infuriatingly difficult game. It does actually wind a few people up, this one. I can't remember which unit. Is it the not Renegade, is it? I can't remember what it is. I'm sure that there's a series it's tied to as well. Somebody will fill me in. Birds will know, or Generation Pixel, I think they know which one it is. Wimbledon, based on tennis. That's all you need to know. I don't get on with this one. This is actually, I don't know, I just can't play this. Tennis Ace we saw earlier was a top-down tennis game. This one, I don't know, I just don't get it. Just hasn't worked with me. There was a sequel to this one as well, ironically called Wimbledon 2, but it's actually a officially licensed game with the championships themselves. Not a tennis fan, so I'm not going to get too much into that. What have we got left? 7. There's two versions of this. There's this version, and then there's the other one, the standard version. And I went for the expensive one because I found it and I thought, this is a really nice copy. I was like, wow, I can't quite believe how beautiful this is. But I'd have to pay a few quid for this one, definitely. This is Winter Olympics, the Lilyhammer 94 version, but this is the Kicks label. And these are a slightly more, should we say, rarer, hard to find. That bracket, it's not great condition, although what we've got there is a lovely little souvenir brochure, and the manual below it is a little bit on the average side, but it's fair. It's fair. I will give it that. But the box is lovely. The box is lovely. And it's Winter Olympic sports, which I do quite like watching the Winter Olympics, because it's a lot of sports that you don't usually see on the old telly. But yeah, there's two versions. That is the more expensive one of the two, but I sort of thought, oh, I could have that. I have to have that. This is not difficult to find, unfortunately. There's no hang tab on it. It's based on the old, it's a Mega Drive World Cup Italia game. It's called World Cup Italia 90. It actually plays better on the Master System than it does on the Mega Drive. I don't know why. It couldn't play any worse, could it really? Not a fantastic football game by any stretch of the imagination. It's top down. But I played this and I thought, actually, this is much better than the Mega Drive one. This I had a lot of fun with, and you aren't going to believe the price I paid for this when I did actually pick it up, and I'll give you an idea how long ago it was. I've played this again on the Commodore 64, I've played it on the Amiga. I think this version is as good as any of those. It is golf, I'm afraid, world-class leaderboard. And that price you see there, 99p, is what I paid for it in Game Station in Hell's Home when there was a Game Station there. I did actually pay 99p for this. Can you believe that? Unbelievable. And it's complete with the manuals in great condition and that. I mean, I know it's golf, I know it's going to be leaderboard, so it's going to be the basic of the basic golf game, but compared to the versions on the Amiga and the Commodore 64, it's as good as, if not better. It's got the crowd effects in there as well. I mean, I was, again, that one Christmas I sat down and played a few of these. I was there for playing it for 8. I thought, I'm going to go through all that and play a few holes, see what it's like. Went through the entire 18 hole. If it's good enough to do that, that's what you do. We saw Summer Games earlier. This is another game from the Epic series, and this is World Games, which is a more cartoony effect. So you're playing things like bull riding, log balancing, where you've got to rotate the running a log on water. Might be caber tossing as well in this one. But very nice condition. Very nice condition indeed. Lovely jubbly. Right, 3 to go, and then we can all go and do something more interesting. This is World Grand Prix, which has got an old Woolworth sale sticker there for $12.99. Gives you an idea of how long ago that was. Yeah, it's all right. I know Retro Red Steve was a big Master System guy as well. This was, I think, the first game he had. He played an awful lot of it. So manual's in good condition, a bit curled up, but it's not a problem. Just your standard 8-bit racer, really, from that era. Another game in the World range. This is World Soccer, which I'm not sure what it played like originally and how it got reviewed, but is quite laughable now, unfortunately. Probably but then again, the height of what technology at the time. But I just find it a very slow, ponderous attempt at football. But what year was this? 88, 87. A long time. A lot of water has gone under the bridge in that time. We have better versions. And then finally we finished the game. Now, I mentioned this about Shadow of the Beast not long ago. That was his video, wasn't it? I can't remember how long ago it was in this video. I said about different covers. This one as well, I think, is a game which has 2 covers. I'm pretty sure of it. This is Xenon 2 Mega Blast, which is not a bad attempt at converting the Amiga game, but suffers some terrible slowdown and flickering sprites. It has got a label stuck in the middle of the cartridge, but the manual's in good condition. I mean, statically, it looks brilliant. When it moves around a bit, it's not quite so good. But I'm pretty sure there's 2 cover variants on this as well. I'm pretty sure there is. One of them, oh, I'll put that. start putting things in front of the screen. I'm sure one of the Master System guys will know a bit more about that. I'm pretty sure that's the game. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, and that's it. That is all the Master System games got. So exactly 100 games, which is 97 boxed. And I've got to say, having gone through that, I would say the 97 boxed, that if there's 7 or 8 which have got manuals missing, that's a pretty good going. I'm pretty sure that's the case. In which case, that's I'm really pleased with that. And what's my aim with the Master System? Like I said in the first video, I'm not full setting it, but just basically picking up good condition games when I see them, if the price is right, which is pretty much what I apply to everything else. But particularly with this system, it's nice to have, you know, boxes, manuals. If the hang tabs are there, great. I know there's a few of the old hang tabs missing, but it's not always easy to find some of these games in great condition. And obviously, I'm working to a budget. Like I said in the first video, I'm not going to go and spend, you know, stupid money on the big titles because I don't have any need for them, really. I'd much rather have these ones and work at it like that. But there we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Please, by all means, feel free to leave comments about your Master System memories, any games that I haven't got that are relatively simple to get hold of that I should have in my collection, any comments on anything you may have played or experiences with, yeah, things like that would be good to hear from you. If you're a Master System collector or looking to get into the Master System, it'd be great to hear from you as well. In the meantime, I'll leave you that there at the at the bottom, we always do. It's there for your consideration. It would be greatly appreciated if you did. If you don't, no hard feelings, as always. That's it. Sorry about all the technical issues during these 2 videos. I think that's probably because we haven't rebooted the camera for a while. So hopefully back to normal when we start doing other videos. Hope you enjoyed that. Keep your eyes peeled for some more collection videos. I've still got other systems to get through. This is probably one of the bigger ones that I wanted to get knocked on, but there's still 2 or 3 big ones to come. I hope you're enjoying them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.